Hello, Raven fans, Oriole fans. So thank you. Raven Sports is coming to you. This is after the first week of the NFL season. So the Orioles are still in the playoff hunt here. Not mathematically eliminated yet. Really like here now, knowing the stretch when you start hearing in baseball magic number. Dodgers hit the magic number, and a lot of teams trying to stab that between the combinations of wins and losses. So thank you very much. NFL season starting. Happy Easter, Christmas, 4th of July for all you football fans have been out there waiting. Okay, so let's get our housekeeping out the way to go ahead and begin with the stream today. First of all, definitely you want to go to our Ravery Sports Facebook page, where we'll be showing you. If you're not watching this on the Ravery Sports Facebook page, it'll be live every week on there. Also on our YouTube page. So go ahead, subscribe, and follow those channels as well. We'll have our main stream, this stream, there every week. Also, we'll be having content as well on those, and also our Instagram page, our TikTok page, and our I'm on that. So our Twitter page, our Instagram, and our TikTok. Okay, so there'll be content in there as well. Twitter also too. I've been also retweeting a lot of Ravens information as well. So some of the Ravens press conferences are on our page. It's definitely you can check that out as well. And also too, I want to tell you about our sponsor. Okay, so we can go ahead and get the sponsor on here as well. Go ahead and pull the sponsor up. Thank you for being with us this week while I'm doing it. Thank you for everybody getting a chance, whenever you're watching this, to go ahead and take a look at it, and so we can go ahead and get this squared away for you. So we're very happy there. There we go. Our Creative Fresh Expressions, our personal chef and catering. So definitely check them out if you have personal needs. You see the email there at the banner at the bottom of the screen as well. So if you have any catering, definitely just did a wedding. They were telling me about Creative Fresh Expenses there in North Carolina. That was outstanding. Also, too, there was one here in Virginia that was good as well. So no matter where you are, if you are interested in that, we will go ahead and do that. Go ahead and email Melissa for that, and they will go ahead and take care of all of your catering and personal chef needs. Food is awesome with Creative Fresh Expressions. All right, so thank you for joining us today. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the game that we had on Sunday. The Ravens and the Jets, they played in the Meadowlands, as us old school fans have called it, where they go ahead and they were winners, 24-9 over, where they were winners rather, 24-9. Got the wrong. There you go. Ravens and Jets, 24-9 victory. Devin Duvernay had 4 catches rather, for 54 yards and 2 touchdowns. I have some concerns about Duvernay in the number 2 role. Looked decent the first week. They didn't throw the ball a ton, but they kind of were in his wheelhouse as far as the deep ball, the over the top. He's a tremendous kick and punt returner, and he kind of reminds me of Kobe Jones, Duvernay. I don't know how good. I could be wrong. He's still young, but he kind of reminds me of that. At times, he'll look like that. That catch, though, was sensational that he made. Tight window, great coverage, difficult throw, difficult catch. So that was fantastic. So he's off to a great start in that game. And I think he outshined Prochet. Prochet, I was thinking would have a better season. I see a little more consistency with him. But only one game, but a great start for Duvernay. On the defensive side, Marcus Williams, man, oh man. He had the interception of Joe Flacco. I think he had 12 tackles. It looked like he was all over the field. This is exactly what the Ravens are looking for. A guy who can go ahead and who can actually play that center field role the way Ed Reed used to. Uh, he's not Ed Reed. Let's go ahead and get that out the way. But he can roam around. I noticed how much better Chuck Clark looks because now he can kind of do his thing, kind of manage the defense because he's got a guy who can run sideline to sideline and cover the whole field. So that is something definitely that you want to take a look at. Two guys in the game I really wanted to take a look at before I mentioned last week. Isaiah Likely, with the preseason he had, I didn't think he did that well. He looked a little nervous, which is normal, so there's no reason to panic. His first pro game, he had to drop pass. Field was kind of wet in Meadowland. Conditions not great. I went to him a couple times. He didn't particularly, I don't think he particularly played well. He just looked like he had a bit of the first game jitters. So I think he's gonna come around. Oweh, as good as I thought the defense looked, especially the D line. Justin Matabuke, Calais Campbell, you expect that. Michael Pierce was welcome addition. I thought Adafe Oweh was kind of what we've seen. Good at times, pass rush in his face at times, but not that boom consistency that we're looking for. Kind of flashy. I thought Justin Houston was more consistent in the first game than Oweh was. But they won, so that's good. A couple things with the Jets. Jets aren't very good. That was a typical Flacco game. That was one of the worst 300-yard passing performances that we saw. They had 3 points most of the game. The Ravens were never in any danger. They scored 9 only, I think, because they kind of like prevent defense, and Flacco did exactly what they wanted. They gave him the passing yards. They ate up a lot of the clock. It was weird seeing him wearing 19, even on a different uniform. It was definitely just very strange to see that different uniform. Jets have some players on defense. I thought C.J. Mosley was good. I thought Hot Sauce Gardner was very impressive, especially early in the game. It gave the Ravens wide receivers trouble. I don't think the Ravens receivers got great separation a lot. They did get the long touchdown to Rashad Bateman. He did well there, and the 2 touchdowns to Duvernay. But I'm just not in love with the receiver. I really would like to see one of these guys break out. I think if it is going to be a guy, it's going to be Rashad Bateman who breaks out. But I think the Jets, I don't know how much we can tell from that team. They clearly had no offense in this one. Bryce Hall, the rookie, he had a fumble. Line was getting pushed around big time. Flacco was getting hit the whole game. Defense was better, but they really didn't create turnovers for the Ravens. So I don't know how much you can tell from that game. And I thought the Ravens looked a little listless. But they're not by themselves with that. I think first week, because of the lack of practice and the preseason and the lack of hitting now, a lot of the first week games, teams just they looked a little off. Other than Kansas City and Buffalo, who looked in mid-season form. But that was kind of the story of that game. So 24-9, Ravens next week. They're going to go to play the Dolphins. And that's going to be their home opener at M&T Bank. A couple things with the Ravens in this game. They are going to have to play better than what we saw. They're not going to win this game looking like they looked last week. The Dolphins were successful against New England. I thought, seeing what I saw of the game, I thought the Dolphins did what was expected. They have those 2 outstanding, 2 very fast receivers. Tyreek Hill is one of my favorite receivers in the league. That's not a Raven. Incredibly quick. Tua can survive with these 2 guys. because he doesn't need to go high over the top to get a 50-yard pass. Get it to these guys, reverse, wide, short, things like that. These guys are game breakers. Waddle was an excellent receiver at Alabama, and now he's good in the pros. Then you get Tyreek Hill from Kansas City in the offseason. So excellent game, I thought, both of them, when they went ahead and they played New England. So they're going to have to play better. Who's going to be key for the Ravens? Marlon Humphrey. We don't know yet Peter's status for the game. As recording, I think that would be close to the best if he doesn't play. They definitely, unfortunately, lost Kyle Fuller to a nasty injury. All my years watching football, I've never seen an announcing crew do what they did. They said, well, we can't show it. It's too gruesome. In a football game, I've never seen that. So it must have been horrible, the injury that they had, that Kyle Fuller had. So it's going to fall on, if it's not them, you're going to probably see more Brandon Stevens in this game. You're going to see maybe the two young guys that they drafted, Williams and Davis, more in this game. Maybe Kyle Hamilton, even a little bit more on the outside in the nickel situations. They are going to have to keep up with these super fast receivers that Miami has. And they're not traditional in that sense. It's different, like if you're playing Devontae Adams, who's going to be on the outside, more traditional. They move these guys around a lot if you watch Miami. So it'll be interesting to see. It's going to have to be a collective effort, but Humphrey especially is going to have to go ahead and step up and do that. Xavier Howard and Melvin Ingram. He is their best defensive player. The Ravens were even trying to get him last year. Maybe he was on the block, but that didn't happen. The Dolphins rather went ahead and signed him to an extension. Off-season, they got Melvin Ingram, underrated pass rusher, very similar to Justin Houston when you're talking about Melvin Ingram. He's a guy that puts pass rush on in a premium position, and Xavier Howard, I think, is the best defensive player overall. The Dolphins don't have a lot of big names, I think, on their defense. I'm not in love with the defense, but I think these two guys are going to be the focal points for the Ravens going against them. So that's going to be key. Looking for see how these receivers do against Xavier Howard, against the elite, better corners in the league. I thought they lacked separation in this game. Let's see how they do in this game. The offensive line, let's see how that holds up against a good pass rusher like Ingram. Juwan James, unfortunately, I mean, a lot of you already know that he was also out for the season. I felt horrible for him because he was out pretty much for 2 years, and then he didn't even make it through a half. So I thought Macchiari came in and played well. We don't know what Ronnie Stanley is. They're clearly not rushing him because of what happened. So they're clearly not going to rush him. We hope he plays. We hope he's well enough to play. So we'll see after practice this week if Ronnie Stanley is able to be a full go in this one. So I predict, let's make it Ravens 21, Miami 14. I think the defenses will be good enough on both sides where it's not, where nobody's going to confuse this with the Rams and the Chiefs a couple years ago, where there's 50 points on both sides. I don't think anybody's going to confuse it with that. But I do think there's enough offense here to go ahead and get squared away. Big concern for the Ravens, for me at least. 63 yards total, 28th in the league as far as their running backs. And this is all the backs. This includes that's not going to work. We need to JK again rushing him. Not you know for sure you don't have Gus Edwards, and you don't have JK, and it's really showing because the line hasn't been terrible. So it wasn't in the first game. I didn't see in the preseason where they're getting like shut around bad or anything like that. So I think that's definitely for me a concern. The run game hasn't done so well. So let's see if Kenyon Drake and Mike Davis and these guys can step up. Because we don't know when we're going to see JK, but they definitely have to do better than that. You can't have Lamar be your leading rusher every week and be successful. So they definitely have to do better than that. Okay, so that's where we're going with that. So thank you very much, and we're definitely looking forward to the game on Sunday with the Ravens and the Dolphins, and definitely last week's game was victory. So we're always happy about a Ravens victory here. All right, so let's go ahead to our Big Five with the NFL. The Big Five games that we're going to go over this week with the best games on the schedule. So these are the best 5 games on the schedule that are not Raven games. We call it our NFL Big Five there. Last week, we were 2-3. Bills really surprised me. Bills, we know how good of a team they are, but they rolled the Rams. Rams were just not ready to play. To me, that was the biggest surprise all the games. And Arizona, Kansas City just wasn't ready to play. That was really a big surprise. Here we go, Chiefs and the Chargers. The Chargers rather going into Arrowhead to play Kansas City. Both teams were victorious in week 1. I think this is going to be the first game on Amazon Prime for Al Michaels and Herb Street. They're kind of rolling out the stream, so definitely check that out. The new team, announcing team, the new number 1 team there. And the Chargers, I thought, were as expected. They played a good Raiders team. I like the Raiders. Khalil Mack, the league's going to have a problem. Joey Bosa is the number 1 pass rusher. And if you can't double Khalil Mack, you saw what happened. He had like 2 sacks. He was outstanding. He was fantastic in that first game. They're going to have a problem with that. The whole league's going to have a problem with that. I don't think J.C. Jackson played in it. Herbert is as steady as a quarterback as you've seen. Different than this guy, the outstanding Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is as good as you've seen too, a bit schoolyard. I'm not as big a fan of that myself at this level, but I think sometimes it's going to cost him. But I mean, otherwise he was fantastic week 1. 5 TDs, no interceptions. He totally shredded Arizona in the first game. They looked ready to go. I thought Juju Smith-Schuster fits well with them. They should win this game. Despite the defense, I think even as good as the Chargers defense, I think as it can be, with all the pieces that they have, I think anybody would have trouble with Mahomes. He's also so hard. He's so unpredictable. It's so hard to figure out what he's going to do. So again, it'll be very interesting to see that. Although the Chargers, if they are successful, that'll be a big statement going into Kansas City and winning. But I do think the Chiefs should win at home. It's very tough to win in Arrowhead. I think that's one of the best home fields in the league. The Patriots going into Pittsburgh. I'm not even sure if the former Heinz Field is where they're going to play. You know, when I do these streams, I kind of do a dress rehearsal for it. I kind of say, well, I kind of do like this, and I do a dress, and what I kept doing was I kept tripping over my Patriots commentary. And the reason was I kind of don't know what to make of the Patriots. Are they a good team? Are they a bad team? Belichick, is he past his prime? Is Jones any good? They didn't look good week 1. I think their roster has some parts to it. I mean, Matt Judon, they still have McCourty, Bentley. I think Jawan Bentley on defense was good. The receivers aren't terrible. I mean, I think they're about decent. Kendrick Bourne, Aguilar, Jacoby Myers. But I don't know what to make of New England in this game. The Steelers, I do know what to make of. They kind of won, but they kind of are what I thought they were. They have a great defense, but they lost, I think, the key guy. We don't know yet if Watt is going to be out for the season. He may be. He's certainly going to be out for a while. Something's telling me to take New England. They generally, Belichick team generally bounce back after a loss like that. And New England and the Squealers don't seem to have any explosiveness on offense. Trubisky I can't understand why Tomlin is starting Trubisky rather than Kenny Pickett. He's limited. He's got some talent. But you're not going to have enough offense. And even in the game last week against Cincinnati, where Burrow turned it over, I think it was 6 times. They still won by 3. They needed a lot of goofy stuff to win. So I'm gonna reluctantly take New England, although I'm not sure what they are. So you got the Cardinals and the Raiders in this one. I think no team disappointed me more in week 1, more than as far as what I thought they were going to be. The Cardinals and the Titans. The Titans was a complete shock. Cardinals, I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Cardinals. They were 7-0 to start last season, and they've kind of been very pedestrian since. They have Kyler Murray there. There seems to be alleged infighting with him and the coach, or there's something going on. The talent is there. What's going on? I mean, and they're also in a division. I think, other than the Rams, I think they definitely have room to move. But they're not playing against, so they're going to get another opportunity. I don't think they win this game either. I thought the Raiders lost, but the Carr had too many interceptions. He was kind of running for his life in that one. I think if he could get his feet under him. Devontae Adams looked good in the first game. I think they're more together than Arizona is, and they should win in this game. Titans and the Bills. I was just saying Arizona was disappointing. The Titans were even more disappointing. That was a shock that they lost to that Giants team that wasn't any good. The Bills, I thought they looked like the best team in the NFL week 1. They came ready to play. Gabe Davis was incredible. Man, they're going to be tough to guard. Stephon Diggs on the other side. Josh Allen is Josh Allen. He's fantastic. I don't see many flaws with him at all. I mean, the only flaw, I think he gets hit too much. I think he maybe has a little Ben Roethlisberger in him where he gets hit a little too much. But I don't see any flaws with them at all. I think Titans lack explosiveness. I think this is why, as much as I like Tennessee, they don't have the explosiveness on offense. Tannehill, they run the ball very well. They have good defense, but when they have to get into, I think, a game like this is not good for them. When we're a team like Buffalo who can score all these points in a hurry. So I think Buffalo wins this game. And the final one here is going to be the Vikings and the Eagles. Both teams won week 1. I think a lot of love for the Vikings all of a sudden because they went ahead and beat Green Bay. And also the Eagles were victorious week 1. This says a lot about both teams going forward. Both teams with some questions. I like the way the Eagles play. They're going to run the ball. They kind of look like the Ravens did we're just going to keep it on the ground. This is what we do. We're going to use Miles Sanders. We're going to use Jalen Hurts on the ground, and we're going to score that way. Cousins, I just don't trust it. He doesn't win these big games, although he has been solid for a while now. His stats are good. I think he's keeping you in games. I like the Eagles at home. That is the craziest crowd. I think one of them in the NFL. I think the Eagles will definitely be excited in their first home game. I think the Vikings also will have a little bit of a letdown after beating the Packers. Very emotional division game like that. I think the Packers have a little bit of a letdown. All right, so there you go. All right, now we're back here. All right, so there you go. Our big five. We go ahead and got that squared away. And every week we'll go ahead and do head of the table, big five. So every week we'll have our big five for the NFL. These are the biggest 5 games that are regular games. Definitely want to explain it. Like week 4, one of the biggest games on Sunday will probably be the Ravens and the Bills. We will not be reviewing that one in big 5, just to use that for example. Like that'll be one of the biggest 5 games on the schedule for sure. But the biggest 5 games on the schedule that are not Raven games. Okay, so definitely keep that in mind. All right, so let's go ahead and switch to baseball. Here we are at the end of the season for the Orioles. So we're going to go ahead and switch that. And I put the question this week out on social media. Well, how will the Orioles pitching look going forward? All right, so when I mean forward, I mean this year and in 2023. So the rest of this year. So you have a few weeks, 20 more games, I think, or something like that left in this year. And you have 2023. How will the Orioles pitching look going forward? I would say this, and I go to this trade here at the deadline. Mike Elias, who's done an outstanding job as GM under very trying circumstances. He went ahead and made these 2 trades. Jorge Lopez, who was their closer, he went ahead and traded him away. And Trey Mancini, the long-standing Oriole, he went ahead and traded him away to Houston. He was very specific about getting pitching prospects in those trades. That's the first time he's done that. He's always kind of, well, we need to gather young players or we're going to get better and et cetera, et cetera. And he was very specific in both trades about getting young pitching. That tells me, and this is my opinion, that he's a little concerned about the pitching going forward. Offensively, I don't think there's anything to worry about. We talked about Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, Ryan Mountcastle, Cedric Mullins is there. Hayes has had a bit of a down year, but he's there. Mateo, maybe not in future plans, but he's young and expensive. You have Jackson Holiday, I think, who's going to eventually be a number 1 prospect in all of baseball. He was a number 1 overall pick. Colt Count. There's a lot of reason to think offensively you have pieces there. Pitching is not as much. Pitching is not nearly as much. You have 3 prime, I would say 2.5 prime prospects. Grayson is pretty much a top, sometimes the top pitching prospect in all of baseball. I think he'd already been in the majors had he not been injured. I think he's back now. He's kind of working his way back now. DL Hall, I think, would have already been in the majors, but all of a sudden he got to AAA and he started to struggle a little bit. He has also been a top 100 prospect. He's been up. I think he's better his last outing, but it's been uneven. Can't write him off. I mean, he's still an outstanding prospect. He throws 100 miles an hour, but it's still improving. And Bradish, I think, has had the most starts. He's been the healthiest, not as good a prospect. Very good his last time. I think he went 8 innings. He was fantastic. but it's still a little up and down, so we're not sure what we have. And I think the Orioles are. I am concerned definitely about the Orioles pitching going forward. A lot of social media reaction was some would say, well, you never have enough. Some would say we're good. Mostly no. And I think I agree with them. The concern I have especially is you look at the Nationals especially. They have spent pretty much what it costs on a bunch of pitchers. If you really want good pitchers. So they've spent money on Matt Scherzer, Strasburg, Patrick Corbin, a lot of veteran pitchers. What it costs to get good pitchers? Garrett Cole, if you look at the Yankees, $30 million if you want an ace, a really top of the rotation starter. The Orioles are not going to spend $30 million. I'm predicting that. I think Mike Elias has come out and said he's going to spend more money. You're not going to see that. I don't think in the current state they're going to spend that type of money on that type of starter. And when you have that, that's what it costs. And then the young prospects aren't doing well. How do you reconcile that? What has to happen is what you have to develop and become outstanding. I'm only talking mostly too about starting pitch. I think the relief pitching has been outstanding all year, and I think they found a closer for the next 4 or 5 years. Felix Bautista. That's definitely their guy going forward. So they definitely have that. Middle inning guys, as good as they've been, you can find those guys relatively cheap. So I think they'll fix that. But to win championships, and that's what we're trying to do, as excited as we all are, as surprising as this season has been, they're in, let me get pan on camera, you're in 4th place in a very good division. So, and now you're going to have the expectation of winning. So it's definitely important for these young guys to really come through and see if they have to be good rotation starters for you, because the Orioles are not going to have the resources to do that. John Means, we don't know what's going to happen there. He should come back. Lyles, I think, has probably been at least the workhorse starter. I've heard A's. He's not an A's, I don't think. But he's been their workhorse starter. He does have an option for next year. It is, I think, $11 million. I have to look at it. Allegedly, I think, but it's right around $11 million. That's more, I think, what they might do. But will that be good enough to go against the teams in the division and the Yankees and the Blue Jays, because they're going to pay the price? And that's my concern going forward for the Orioles. Are they going to go ahead and pay the type of resources that's going to cost, or are you going to develop these guys? Because I don't see it outside of these guys in the minor leagues, and I don't see them paying the price for these guys. I don't think you win at a high enough level unless you actually have those type of players. So let's keep that in mind going forward. We hope that, my hope is, just to finish the thought, my hope is that these guys become what we're hoping they become. They're still young. So I'm not writing them off in any sense. Grayson Rodriguez is a outstanding prospect. DL, I'm not as high on it. I don't like his delivery, but he throws super hard. And you never know who else is there. Dean Kramer has been much better this year. Keegan Aiken is still here. There is some other young guys that you never know who's going to become a solid starter for you. So, but I'm definitely concerned going forward what the Orioles rotation is actually going to go ahead and look like. Okay, so definitely keep that in mind. What the Orioles are going to do going forward as far as their pitching. We hope we can get into the playoffs this year and do that. It doesn't look good, but the fact that we're even talking about it is fantastic. The fact that we're even having the discussion is better than it's been the last few years. So we're all happy about that. One other quick thing. I want to go couple more quick things I want to go over with you. Ravery Sports is going to have an online store. We will be announcing that soon. When we're going to go ahead when you're able to buy your Ravens and Orioles merchandise from Ravery Sports. So we will have Orioles jerseys if you're looking for them. We will have Ravens jerseys if you're looking for them, and I'm sure you are looking for them because you're Ravens Orioles fans. So definitely keep that in mind. We'll definitely have all that good stuff for you. Also, as well, next week when we go ahead and get on the stream here, we are going to go ahead and talk about the game next week. There it is, Ravens and the Patriots. That's going to go ahead and preview our Week 3 game that we have. So that's going to be the following week. They're going to be playing in Foxborough, and also too we're going to go ahead and review this one. The Dolphins when they go ahead and play the Ravens. It's Sunday, the home opener. So we'll go ahead and review that. We're also going to go ahead and talk Orioles next week as well. Definitely too. We are next week with the Orioles. We're going to take a look at where we are in the pennant race and what the Orioles have to do to go ahead and finish out in the pennant race. Very weird stuff I've been seeing online too about Brandon Hyde wanting Joe Madden. That's horrible. I mean, Brandon Hyde, I think, has done a fantastic job as manager. So I think that is unfortunate that he has to deal with the fact that he should be. Hopefully, he wins Manager of the Year this year. So we're definitely hoping for that. All right. So thank you very much for joining us this week here at Ravery Sports, and also too, definitely check us out on all of our social media platforms, and we will go ahead and see you on next week. Thanks for watching.